everyone, my name is Ashley Dawn and welcome back to my channel. Today I am recording this video and there is literally a tropical storm / category 1 hurricane heading straight for us and should be here in a couple of hours. But you know what? My guide said that I had a message to get to you, so I'm recording. But this is why I am in full comf and just kind of riding out the storm. And I thought it was a perfect time actually to talk about this particular subject. So the subject is the game of life. Now, this is something that I mentioned in my book a couple years ago. My guide, Jay, actually described life here as a human as a game and how you have to play the game. And so it's funny how this has come up a couple of times in just the last couple of days. So if this is a topic that kind of interests you, please like and subscribe below. I absolutely love your support. So moving on, let's talk about this game of life. So this is how my guides described it to me, and I'm going to try to do my best, but I'm really going to break this concept down for you. Hopefully I'm going to blow some minds today. And really what I'm trying to do, and any spiritual teacher or a light worker or anybody, we're just trying to help you heal along your healing journey, but we're also trying to help you remember who you are. And I'm going to touch on that as well. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is this concept that you are a character in a game. So you are this beautiful and amazing light body being in a human costume playing a game of life. So basically your soul, your light body, your divinity, your connection to source, you are source, right? You are a representation of source, right? So that is bottled up in this little human costume, okay? And basically, I want you to literally think about this as a video game. And that is exactly how my guide Jay explained it to me when I talked about this in a book I wrote a couple years ago. Okay, so he kind of described it like you hold the remote control for your player. Only you can control the player, right? Your own player. You can't necessarily control all of the things around you, but you have control over your human, right? Your human character. Now, your emotions are the clues about your character. You know, when we understand and master or learn from our emotions, we're literally learning about our character, the human, but also the talents and characteristics of our true light body form, right? So the more we understand our emotions, the more we understand ourselves, if that makes sense. And I want you to think of the game again. So the more you understand the emotions, the more you can, in a game, let's say, level up or have a magical potion that heals you more, right? Or that where you can gain a life or whatever, right? So in a sense, you are growing, leveling up, gaining a life, healing yourself. Those are all types and forms of growing, right? So as we learn our emotions, these clues are laid out for us. The more we learn, the more we can expand our consciousness, the more we can grow, okay? And the more that we grow, the more you can become one with your divinity, with source, with your inner goddess, right? With your light. All of that, okay? I'm using these descriptive words for all the same thing. With your true higher self, right? So the more you understand and master your emotions, the more expansion that you have, the better you understand your character. Now think about this in even like a movie setting. You come across this character and then you start to learn more about this character and their character traits and their unique quirks. And the more you understand the character, the more you understand why they do the things that they do and why they react the way that they react and all that kind of stuff, right? So you're basically learning your character through emotions, okay? Now here's the trick. Remember back to when you're playing video games, okay? I loved like Super Mario Brothers and I thought it was hilarious because that's what I remember seeing years ago. That's what my guides talked about recently. And I even caught another spiritual teacher that I really like. His name's Phil Good. And he mentioned that exact video game too. So I'm like, okay, then when everything synchronizes like that, that is how I know that we're all getting downloads of the same information that's relevant for the collective at the same time, okay? So I want you to think of Super Mario Brothers, okay? Maybe that ages me a little bit, but just roll with it. And what happens in a video game when you are stuck on a level, right? You like jump across something and you don't quite make it. You fall down, you lose a life, and they start you back over. And then you do it again and you try a different way. That didn't work. And you start back over, right? So when in real life you see patterns or loops, it is your biggest clue that you are stuck on a level and you are missing the clues. You are missing something. You are not getting it right, honey. You keep falling in the same spot, right? Or you just haven't stopped and looked around. How many times as kids we realized that if we, went backwards and jumped on top of this thing, you could walk across the clouds and skip over all of the really, really hard and challenging things. Or it took you to a different section and you beat that level in half the amount of time, right? Or whatever, right? So my point is, when you see loops, this means you are stuck on a level and you're being told to pay attention to the clues. The clues are your emotions, okay? So here's another thing that will tell you when you're kind of blocked or when you're struggling on a level. When you are triggered, now, you all know, if you've been following me, that I talk about patterns and triggers all the time. So this is why I thought it was really relevant, because my guides were explaining it to me in this, game thing again, but they're using the same terminology I've been using for a year at least now, right? Or years, I should say. So the next way to know that you're being blocked is being triggered. So for example, if you have not dealt with an emotion properly, you are triggered. You're easily triggered, right? Somebody says something or does something that's just kind of like a normal thing and you're like, why would you do that? And you kind of like, and snap at them. That's a trigger. Why are you having a trigger? Because there's something that you need to deal with or heal from or grow from, right? And you have not let that heaviness go. You are too heavy. Every time you try to jump across the little river stream, you're too heavy. You got to let that go so that you can make it to the other side and then learn how to get through the rest of that level. And then when you do, you level up, okay? So yes, this ties into shadow work as well, but I'm just going to use it in the context of this game, okay? So patterns and triggers are examples of the fact that you are freaking stuck. Pay attention to those, investigate those, look into them further, right? Because you're just choosing to go, like you're just pounding into a wall. And every day it's almost like you are consciously choosing to suffer that day, and you don't have to do that. You hold the remote control, right? You control the player, right? Okay. So when we hit that wall, you are energy. Oh, I can hear the wind pick up. I don't know if you guys can hear that. We're getting like those bands of like hurricane type weather. Anyway, I digress. So you are energy, okay? And energy moves, right? And emotions are energy in motion, right? So as you have emotions, they need to move and be expressed or understood or something like that. When you continue to do the same thing over and over and get the same result, not only is that the definition of insanity, but the energy isn't moving, the energy is hitting a wall. That becomes extremely frustrating. And as younger kids, or maybe even currently today, you're still playing video games, when you keep making the same mistake and you can't figure out how to pass this level, it is incredibly frustrating, right? So again, realize that frustration is because you are separating and pulling away from your divinity and source. That's what you're feeling. That's what that frustration is. It's because when everything is in alignment and you are jumping and bouncing around and you know all the little things to do on this level and you pass it like that, it's because you are connected with yourself. Your human character is connected to your higher self, and your higher self is in a fun little chit chat with all of your guides, your angels, and everybody's working together. When you don't listen to the clues of your emotions and you don't heal those or work on those, you keep hitting those walls. Every time you do, it's like a blow backward and you're not connecting with your divinity. You're not connecting with source. So, okay, so I hope you understand that concept. Okay, so I would like now to do a little bit of channeling and see if there's more that they want to add to that, because I personally discuss more with my guides, but it's so funny. I definitely get excited and want to share everything with you guys. And I do a good job of sharing a lot of things with you guys, but there are some things that I'm not sure if you're ready to hear. But so I kind of check in with them and make sure like what they want me to disclose, or if there's other things. And sometimes randomly they kind of surprise me and they'll bring up other things that is related to this topic. So let me channel for just a second and see if there's anything else that they kind of want to add to this concept. Okay. Okay. So they're saying that you chose to be here. Okay, so think about this as like another aha moment, okay? They're saying you chose to be here in this exact human form, and learn these exact lessons in this exact time space. And you are having a human experience. You're a light body being having a human experience. And the way that they make me feel is like, okay, so they're saying that this is one character, human character, one character in one lifetime, in one time space. They're like, when we say you are an incredible light body being, this is what we're talking about. All the things that you've experienced and learned, this is what we're talking about. You are amazing. You are learning. You are growing. You are developing. You are shifting. You are moving, right? And they're like, and that is just this one little character in this one little life, in this one little time space. And so they're like, let that sink in for a minute. What they're implying is that you have an infinite amount of parallel universes and realities in which you are also playing other characters, learning all of these lessons. And your higher self is keeping information and almost downloading all of these personal things and all these lessons. And then your higher self is also then connected to Source, which is also in exchange with giving downloads of information or sharing information, right? So they're like, you need to re-understand and remember. Okay, this is where that comes in again. Okay, so they're saying this is why we constantly tell you to remember who you are. You are an amazing light body being. Okay, you chose to come here knowing how difficult it was, and that you learned all of these lessons, and you're going to play this character and just kick ass, right? So they're like, you chose to come here, and you would have never done that if you couldn't handle it. So they're like, this is what we're talking about. Remember who you are. Connect to your divinity. Connect to Source, because that is where you really find your truth, right? And find your center. Okay, let me see if they have more. Okay, they want to jump on what I just said. And they're saying that the more you understand your emotions, you understand yourself, and you heal and you do your shadow work, the more you connect to your divinity, the more you level up and expand your consciousness. They wanted to make that point clear, because what they're saying is you really can only control your character and your personal reality. However, the more you connect to your divinity and Source and self, right, your higher self and all that, the more your internal reality starts to reflect your external reality and your external world. And when you understand that, then you can start to manifest like that. Right? Because you internally have let go of your limiting beliefs. You've internally healed some of those wounds and traumas, right? You're now lighter, right? And you've grown and learned. So you do not stand in your own way. They keep telling me, stop standing in your own way, okay? And what they mean by that is stop holding onto those limiting beliefs. Stop doing one thing, like saying one thing and doing another. Like, I really want to have a partner in my life, but all men suck. What? You know, or I'm just using that as an example, right? So stop doing that self-sabotage stuff, right? When you let go of all of that, you connect more to your true light body self, right? Your true light body Source. And they said when you do that, you can be, it's like it's like you're still having this human experience, but you also understand how the game works, right? So it's almost like, I remember when, I think it was the Wii, I think when the Wii games came out, they had like a karaoke, like American Idol karaoke thing or something like that. And I learned really quickly, if you didn't know the words to the song, like you get points if you like had fluctuations in your voice and you said words at the right time. But if I didn't know the words, or it was going really fast, like it was like a rap part or something like that, you could literally just be like, "Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da." It didn't matter that you were actually not, it was cheating. Basically, it didn't matter that you were saying the right word. It mattered that you were saying at the right timing and at the right tone and pitch and things like that. So in a sense, it's like, yeah, I'm the player playing the game, but when I understand how to play the game, I know how now, not in like a negative way to manipulate, but now I know the pattern. Now I know how to play the game. Now I know when I don't know the words, I still can be in the game, you know? When I feel a little lost and I don't know what I'm doing, I can still keep up with the tempo. Do you see what I mean? Because it's the tempo and it's the tones and pitches that really mattered in that game, okay? So I hope that helps. As far as an example, that's what they make me feel like. You can be the player, but the more you understand the game. And another good example might be sports, right? You can be a really, really talented player, but if you don't understand the rules of the game, you're not going to be very good. You know, or chess, right? You know, you can know all the things, but if you don't understand the rules of the game, you're not going to win, you know? And so that's kind of like what they're explaining to me. You can still be the player, but you can also make things a lot easier on yourself when you understand this game. Okay, so they're saying that when your thoughts and emotions are in alignment with your higher self, you are closer to your higher self and your divinity and source. And now you're understanding the game, right? Okay, let me check in one last time. Okay. Okay, they're saying this is why it is so important to love yourself. And this is why it is so important to have compassion for yourself. And this is why it's so important to have compassion for others, because everyone is just doing the best they can at their own game. And everybody's at a different level. So some people can't even wrap their head around this conversation. Other people are nodding their heads because they had this realization 20 years ago. Okay, so everybody's at their own level, and it serves you better to be kind to somebody else, because if you are both a part of source, you are recognizing a piece of you within that person. So when you judge somebody, or you're like, oh, you should be farther along in your spiritual journey, you know, or whatever, right? You are not just judging them, you're judging yourself. And that only pulls you away from your divinity again, right? Because that goes against what's best for and the highest good for all, right? So they're saying love yourself and be compassionate with yourself first, and then start loving and being compassionate with everyone, because everybody's on their own level. Everybody's on their own pace, right? And sometimes, I mean, I know when I was a kid, it took me like sometimes, 30 times to try at one level before I could level up on Super Mario Brothers, right? And it's true for life too. Sometimes we learn a lesson the hard way and we learn it really quick and we never make that mistake again. And sometimes we just see those patterns, right? And loop and we continue. So they're telling me, you've got to love yourself and you've got to be kind and you've got to be patient. And they're saying that, that to honor yourself and to be true to yourself and your higher self, that is what you must do. To honor yourself and to be true to yourself, it is to be as connected to your higher self and your divinity as possible. But they're also saying, have patience. You're also in a game being human. So you have these, you're this badass light body being with all these human limitations, right? And those are kind of oddly, in a weird way, new to us because we aren't just human, right? In our true form. So they're like, be kind. It's okay if you have to try a couple times. Like, it's okay if you keep seeing these patterns and you haven't found the clues yet. It's okay if you know what emotions are kind of tripping you up, but you haven't quite navigated through them and healed yet. It's okay. Everybody is okay where they're at, and they're exactly where they need to be. And if you feel this urge and push to grow and learn and shift and change, you know, be compassionate as you go through that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. So, so yeah, thanks for joining me with this video in the middle of a hurricane. It was fun. I hope that this made a lot of sense to you guys. It was crazy how it came up like 3 or 4 times this week. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to do a video on this. Share comments below if you guys really got something out of this and it really resonated with you. And I really hope that this just like blew minds and planted seeds and did all those amazing things, because remember, I am nobody like special. I'm not some magical person. I just am in a different level, right? And the level I'm at is remembering who I am. And so, and my purpose is to help others remember who they are along their healing journey as well, right? And so I think that it is just a fun little life journey we're all on. And when we realize that we're in this game, you know, we can really take some of that pressure off of us and enjoy the journey. All right. I will talk with you guys next week. Love and light, my friends.